Hey guys, welcome back to Pro Gun. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate that. Today, I want to compare the Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro to the Glock 19. And the reason for that is that the Glock 19 is probably the most popular 9mm pistol in the world. So if you want to compete against the 9mm, the Glock 19 would be the one you'd compete against. First of all, we'll start with what they have in common. They're both striker-fired pistols, they're both polymer frame, and they both come with 15+1 capacity. Now, let's go with the differences. Well, the Hellcat Pro, I like the fact that you get metal magazines instead of plastic that you get with the Glock. If you go by size, the Hellcat Pro is slightly shorter and definitely thinner than the Glock 19, which makes it much easier to conceal and much more comfortable, especially if you carry inside the waistband. Let's go with ergonomics. Well, there's nothing fancy about the Glock 19, and this, by the way, is not a Gen 5 because I don't have one, but size-wise, it's exactly the same. The ergonomics on the Hellcat Pro are just great. It's super comfortable. I like that they have the little indentation for your index finger here and a little thumb rest. The Glock ergonomics is, it's okay, but it's nothing to write home about. Now let's go with the sights. And forget about the optic. The Hellcat Pro comes with a steel rear sight with a tritium night sight for the front. The Glock comes with the crappy normal Glock sights that really cheeses me off because for the money that you spend on a Glock, they give you these 25-cent cheesy plastic sights that are really worthless. I mean, almost every Glock I have, the first thing I do is change the sights. The trigger is much better and quicker to reset than the Glock, so I give the edge to the Hellcat. The Hellcat is made in Croatia, the Glock is made in Austria. Now, before I start pissing off the Glock people, I do want to say I'm a huge Glock fan. I've had Glocks my whole life, but in my opinion, I feel that the Glock is very dated. Glock has not come up with any new innovations in the past 10 years. Glocks all look the same. They have that blocky style look to them. Nothing special. But yes, you do have the reputation of Glock. They're going to go bang every time. They eat everything. Well, let me tell you, the Hellcat Pro is no slouch either. And I beat the snot out of this gun. And you know what? This is going to go bang every time too. They're both priced fairly comparably. They're around the $600 price range. Now, I wound up getting the Hellcat Pro Gear Up package, which gave me 5 metal magazines and a range bag for $550, which is less than the cost of the Glock 19. You can't make a mistake with either one of these, but you know, if you're going to go after the big boys, then you really need to offer something that they don't have, and it's little things like the serration on the front and the rear of the slide. You know, the trigger is better, the ergonomics are much better, the sights are much better. And, you know, when you're up to the $600 price range, to be honest with you, as much as I love Glock, I really think that the Hellcat Pro is a better value. Now, if you're worried about spending $600 on a gun and you want to go with the tried and true, you know, the Glock Perfection, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, you can't make a mistake getting either one of these, but if you want to take the overall package on what you get with the Hellcat Pro versus what you get with the Glock 19, I think the Hellcat Pro really knocked this out of the park. This is a lot of gun for the money with a lot of fantastic features compared to the Glock that hasn't changed in the past 10 years. And I think, in my opinion, the Glock is just very dated. They've rested on their laurels, and they'll continue making sales just based on the name. Glock could turn out a piece of crap, even though they never will, and people will still buy it because it's a Glock, right? And they sell a lot of guns based on their reputation, and rightfully so. They do have a reputation, and it's a great firearm. But I think that if you go by innovation, I think that, Glock has spent so many years saying, well, we're Glock, we're not changing anything because it is perfect, and we're going to just leave it alone. And then you have Springfield Armory comes out with a new firearm, the Hellcat Pro, and they say, well, if we're going to compete against Glock, what could we add to this gun to make it worth someone spending the money on our product versus Glock? And I think that's where Glock falls short. I think at one point, Glock was the industry standard that everyone looked up to and respected, and all the gun manufacturers all felt like they had to catch up to Glock. Well, I think now we're at the point where they've surpassed Glock, and now Glock is trying to catch up to everyone else, or not, and just stay the way they are, and I think that's a big mistake. So if it was my money, and I was going to spend money in the $600 price range, I would definitely go with the Hellcat Pro. I know I probably pissed off a lot of Glock fans, and that's fine. That's my opinion. My opinions are unbiased. That's what I feel. Based on shooting this is actually now my everyday carry. Matter of fact, I wasn't even going to buy this gun. I was going to buy another Glock. And my wife said to me, well, you have a whole safe full of Glocks. Why don't you get something different? So I took her advice, and I'm glad I did, and that's why I got this. And I think this is actually one of my favorite guns right now. So please leave me your comments. I'd like to know what you think. Thanks for watching.